and welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm glad you've made the connection and are with us today. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and the goal of our show is to explore a wide range of topics that challenge us to see ourselves, our community, and the world around us that gets us thinking, maybe gets us connected, and maybe even challenged to do just a bit more because we've made that connection. So this week, we're going to be talking about Prime Productions, a very dear friend of the show. And their next production coming up is for Peter Pan on her 70th. And we have the founders of Prime Productions. We'll also have the cast. They're going to be here today. And this is all for Peter Pan on her 70th birthday. I'm going to introduce our co-founders and co-artistic directors, as well as an actor who's been with Prime Productions since the very beginning. So we have Allison Edwards, we have Shelley Place, who are both co-founders and co-artistic directors, and we also have Elizabeth Desautels, who has been a performer and a supporter of Prime Productions from the get-go. Shelley, tell me about the vision of how this got started and where you are now.
Well, Allison and I, and Beth, actually, I'm reminded, we were all in a master acting class at the Guthrie, and about that time in the year, all the seasons were coming out. All the theaters were announcing their seasons, and when they did that, there were about 60 theaters in town. 40 of them had some sort of actors' equity contract. That's the professional union for actors and stage managers. And out of those 40 theaters and all of the shows that they were going to do, there were 5 roles. 5 roles for women over 50.
For 40? Yeah, but how many plays that were there?
Well, if you figured that you had 40 theaters and maybe they were doing 3 to 4 plays.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, just do the math. I mean, it was just, but only 5 characters.
That's crazy.
You know, and it was just bizarre. And so, one of us said to each other, have you ever thought about starting your own theater company? And then then Allison walked up and said, have you ever thought about starting your own theater company? And I said, well, that can't be a coincidence. And so we went out and we talked about it, and I'm sure there were martinis involved. I'm positive. But anyway, and we were lucky because at that time we didn't have money, we didn't have anything, but there was a grant.
There was a grant. We also started. We didn't know what we didn't know. And so we just thought, let's see if we can do this.
But you both are talented and experienced actors, and you knew the ropes when it came to performance. You both were involved with directing, production, but pulling it all together and calling it your own and staking claim. That must have been big for both of you to just say out loud.
I had my own company, but it was a for-profit company, a production company. But working in the nonprofit world was a whole different thing for me.
Sure.
And this thing with the grant, people said, well, you'll never get your first grant. and first of all, we needed to find a theater. We didn't even have a name yet.
And we didn't have a play.
Sounding like a Judy Garland, Andy Rooney. I've got a barn. Can we do a play?
For professionals coming from New York and L.A., we were so naive about a few things.
And it really was finding out that there was a grant we could apply for that gave us a deadline that really made us focus, because we are a chatty group, and we could have talked about mission and ideas.
You just wanted to get her done.
We could have done that for a long time with those martinis. But with this deadline of this grant, it really made us focus, and we got the first grant. It was amazing.
And the first play you did?
The first play was Little Wars, and Beth was in it.
I was.
And in fact, Beth had – so just let me tell you a little bit about it. Little Wars was a play written by Stephen
Carl McCaslin.
a young man, 30 years old, and he had done a deep dive into all of these famous female authors. And so the cast included Gertrude Stein, Alice B. Toklas, Lillian Hellman, Dorothy Parker, and Agatha Christie. Among
You can't go
others.
wrong
I know.
with those characters.
And what he had done, what I loved directing it, was he had offered every actor this one moment in the sunshine where they got to do this incredible monologues. And if you know anything about Dorothy Parker, that's
It was a fun ride, that's for sure.
Now, you actually learned about Prime before you were cast. You heard it, I think, around
around the
martinis.
martinis. I remember 3 of you sitting around a table, and we all had, I think we were in an acting class together. Mm-hmm. And then when they said, hey, we got this idea. And I was like, wow, that sounds fantastic. Sign me up. Where do I sign? I want to be a part of this.
And you've been with it. And you've been with it.
I have been. I've been with it ever since. I had the opportunity of doing Little Wars, and that was an incredible journey. And how many was there? 7 of us in that?
7.
And it was so great to be working with such outstanding women, all at the same time, all on stage together, working on this beautiful production that was really well received. So
it was.
Yeah,
it was fun
great.
to have you all on the radio show way back then.
Yeah,
do you remember? We had 7 people in this room.
Yes, I do remember that.
It was tight.
It was great. So you were there from the very, very beginning.
I don't know how you controlled all the chitter chat.
Well, the chitter chat was made it fun, it's all good. But speaking of chitter chat, and you could talk about mission statements all day. I want to read to you what your mission statement is now, and with that, how you've seen it evolved over time. So, the mission of Prime Production is it amplifies the voices of women over 50 through powerful performances that embrace diverse perspectives across all genders, race, sexual orientations, and abilities. We create authentic representation by prioritizing women writers and directors, transforming the creative landscape where women's stories achieve equal prominence, strengthening community bonds, and empowering future generations. Mm-hmm. A little bit different than we should just get people hired.
Yes.
But
exactly.
It grew, and the beauty of it growing.
Exactly. And again, in the beginning, it really was, let's get some of these amazing, talented women in the Twin Cities hired. Give them an opportunity to perform, which they weren't getting. They were having to find other ways to make money and doing other things. But as we have hung in there, we have seen, or we've wanted to evolve our mission to something broader and to really try to affect the narrative about mature women so that they're not seen as, the sidekick, as the wife of the senator. We want them shown as the senator. We want them to be the prominent characters moving the plot of the play. As opposed to just being a joke about incontinence.
One of the things I asked you a little earlier is about, what means the most to you right now, and it's that you're still here, and that you're expanding the mission to a wider vision.
Exactly.
And that means something to you because you've taken something from nothing to something special?
Exactly. And because as a woman, as we all are, but I think most women recognize that we have spent our lives, it's sort of invisible in many ways. And particularly now that I am older, I notice that when I walk into a store, nobody greets me, which is actually fine by me because I don't particularly like to be followed around by salespeople. Uh-huh. But I have noticed that if a minute later a younger person walks in the store, the salesperson says, "Oh, hi, welcome."
Yeah.
And I don't understand that, but I do understand it. But that's the kind of thing that we're hoping we can affect.
And you believe in change. You believe that we can make a difference with these stories, Shelley.
I do. We have a statement that we say a lot, which is, we are not our mother's mother. So, and if you think about it, our generation, we were pretty radical.
with our mini skirts. And our
I mean, I didn't exactly burn my bra, but I got really damn close.
But we were also raised, the challenge I think we had with our generation, we were raised with Barbie dolls.
Right.
And then at a certain point, we were supposed to burn our bras. Now, I don't know. The accessories of Barbie were something that I had grown very accustomed to.
Oh,
right.
And
Loved it.
But on the other hand, I wanted to have my voice, and I wanted to be roaring. So I think we lived through some of the initial, like, no, love this, but need this too. And
Absolutely. I
Right.
think that's very true, that we are on that peculiar cusp. I also grew up with two brothers, where as the only girl, and I was not treated as something special. And, so it was like, well, I remember going to summer camp, and there was this really cute guy, and we were playing ping pong, and I was beating him badly. And I suddenly realized, oh, I don't think I should be doing that. And so I started to play badly.
Oh.
Which is
No.
absurd.
No.
But again, that's
It's part of that
sort
cusp. Yep.
Wow.
I had a similar situation. I lived in California, had horses, moved out to the East Coast, and we were doing tug of war. And I said, I can take that boy. I in fact, put 3 boys and I can pull them over. And they're like, no, you can't. And I went, oh, yeah, I can. And I did. But I didn't apologize.
That's interesting.
Your vision of being part of Prime Productions, your spot of being sort of, if nothing else, a witness and participant to this trajectory.
Well, it's interesting because I was actually raised by really strong women, having lost my father at a very young age. So I had women that were ahead of their time, to pushing this message forward that we need to be leaders. And I have just first finding women that are strong enough to say, let's just frickin' do this, right?
Yeah.
And then I wanted to get on board. And it's been lovely being able to just kind of tap in. And even though I can't always be an actor on the stage with them, I've been able to help out in other ways, like helping with captioning. We always have captioning for all of our shows.
Because women know how to do community.
We love community, and we want everybody to be able to enjoy these amazing stories. So
I love ending on that note, but before we end, I want to make sure that folks know that For Peter Pan on Her 70th Birthday by Sarah Rule is going to be at the Mixed Blood. It previews October 9th and 10th. It opens October 11th. It closes October 26th. It plays Thursday through Saturday evenings at 7:30 and Saturday and Sunday at 2 o'clock. You can get tickets at Prime, P-R-O-D-S, primeprods.org. And there is captioning for every performance. And we'll be right back. Thank you all for sharing a little
Thank
bit
you
of
so
the
much.
history and
Pleasure.
the love that Prime Productions brings to the Twin Cities.
Thanks.
Thank you.
so much.
Welcome back to our Connections radio show, where we have fun. We also talk about ideas that matter, and we share things that hopefully you get inspired to do just a bit more because you're making some really wonderful connections. And this week we are talking about Prime Productions and their show coming up for Peter Pan on Her 70th. And we, in our last segment, had the founders of Prime Production. We had Allison Edwards and Shelley Place. We also had one of the actors who've been in the show, been in Prime Productions over time, and she is a delight. We had Elizabeth Desautels. In this segment, we're going to go into a little deeper dive about what the show is coming up. And we've got, as you might imagine, with Peter Pan, there were various characters, and we've got the boys from Peter Pan that are with us today in the second segment. And to start us off, I'm going to have one of the boys, and his name is Terry Lynn, is going to share with us about how the show is structured. So we just get kind of some context of what the play's about.
Yeah, the show is in 3 movements. We call them movements. And the first one takes place in the hospital room, holding vigil over their father who's in hospice, getting close to the end. And then we move to the second movement, which is kind of a family wake in the family home in the kitchen. And there's a lot of exchange between the family members, the children, the 5 kids, about family history, politics, and they're growing up. And then the third movement is a fantasy filled recreating of the Peter Pan story.
That's wonderful. Now, in this segment, we're having the sons of Eric. That's his real name. The father.
The father, right.
The father.
Our father.
Our father. So you have a father in the show. In the beginning, the father is in the hospital
Yes.
and dealing with the father in the hospital. The second is the sons dealing with a father who's passed, and then Flights of Fancy in the last. So, Terry Lynn, you play Michael.
The
youngest.
I'm the youngest, the fourth of five.
And Bob Malus,
That's right.
you play John,
Right.
who's the oldest of the sons.
The oldest of the sons.
Sons, not we have Anne. Anne is the oldest daughter, and then the three sons. And our last guest here is Kurt Schultz, who plays Jim, and you're the second
No.
son.
Second son, yes.
Second son.
Middle child.
Middle child.
Second son.
And as I understand, there's a lot of interesting comments about middle child and middle children.
Yes. He refers to himself as being in the vanishing point, which is the middle child or two on either side. The middle child is supposed to be all screwed up. But of course we know I'm not. This is where the acting comes in.
Okay, so as an actor commenting on the role, is he a little screwed up?
I suppose so. Within the context of all families are a little bit
Yes.
screwed up. Okay,
We all
Yeah.
begin
so,
with that.
So here's the thing. When we started this play, I read the script and we started rehearsing. I thought, this is nothing like my family, and yet it's all very familiar. So, it's really about the relationship of all these kids.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think we all can relate to family, and there's a part of us that all feel a little off,
Mm-hmm.
and that somehow it's all a little screwed up. But that's how families come together. Bob, tell me about your role.
John is a professor. He's more the local family member. He's been there with his dad for the last few years, trying to take care of him through this illness. So John is pretty straight-laced. He can have a biting sense of humor, but pretty straight-laced. And I knew nothing about this play, but I just love that this play has lots of realistic dialogue, like a lot of plays, but it has this magic realism where it's partly real and it's partly not real, and then there's just pure magic. So I've done shows for a long time, and I haven't seen too many like this. And it, plus it's one of our very best American playwrights. Sarah Ruhl is one of the best.
She has, interestingly enough, what I've heard from her writing this play, this was for her mother.
Yeah.
And her mother actually did play Peter Pan, and this was a gift that she gave her mother for her 70th. So what a wonderful way to celebrate family is to honor her that way. Terry Lynn, tell me about Michael, the youngest.
Michael, the people pleaser, trying to make everybody feel okay about what they're going through. I think for me, Kurt and Bob have both talked about the family dynamic. This, for me, I come from a family of five, and while there's some things that are very different, there's a lot of things that really correlate and really make sense to me. I'm finding myself constantly being reminded of my own siblings. 5 individuals that have different political and different religious, followings. But at the end of the day, we all still love each other, and I think that's one of the more important dynamics for me personally about this play is that it shows us family, and it shows us distinctive differences, but still that ability to look past the differences and remember at the base we all love each other.
You're all connected.
We're all connected in a very unique way. So,
Peter Pan, when I hear that, I think of the Peter Pan syndrome of not wanting to grow up and not taking on adulthood, that you stay as a child. Are the boys Peter Pans, or have you all grown up?
ooh,
Well, John talks about yeah, I'm all grown up, and I don't like it. John, he seems very straight-laced, but I think John is just very, very crazy at times, and it comes out. I mean, and he can be very tender and very funny, and of course, as Terry's mentioning, he loves his siblings and he loves his father, but he has this facade of being very conservative and straight-laced.
And Kurt, tell me about your character. Has he grown up?
He thinks he has. There's a little bit of arrogance about him. He's in practice as a surgeon. However, we're all storytellers, and we love to tell and hear stories. And I do think in this play, as in our lives, we do tend to look back. Mm-hmm. We're nostalgic. Mm-hmm. And so, has he grown up? Not completely. No.
Still holding on to some
Oh,
of those?
Yeah. And in the third movement, I also play Captain Hook, which is his childhood.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So it's...
A little dream come true.
Oh, absolutely. Uh-huh. So, I suppose you could say he has a foot in both worlds, nice. But then don't we all, to some degree?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that I like most about this play is it shows us the joy and that freedom of being a child. Yeah. But then there's the moments where it's like, yeah, that's wonderful, but where I am now is okay too, And
so the character of Michael, tell me how he looks at growing up.
I think there's an appreciation of that joy and that, the creativity and the freedom, and but then acknowledging and remembering that, at the end of the day, it's okay to be in my late 60s, and it's okay to care about the relationships I have and my children and grandchildren, and how that all comes back around. You still want to keep that heart of a child, and for forever. I think that we'd all be better off if we remember that on a daily basis, to remember with joy,
And perhaps even face some misconceptions that we had as a young kid about what it meant to be older.
Right.
And allow that to open up too, that we don't have to get too old.
Don't have to grow up.
No. I want to encourage our audience to go to see the prime production of For Peter Pan on her 70th birthday. That's by Sarah Ruhl. It's at the Mixed Blood Theater. It previews October 9th and 10th. It opens on October 11th, closes on the 26th. Know that it goes on Thursdays through Saturday evenings at 7:30 and Saturday and Sunday matinees at 2 o'clock. To get tickets, it's primeprods.org. That's PRIMEPRODS.org. And there is captioning at every performance. No other theater does that. Just wanted to put that in there, too. So thank you all. Thank you to hear about the boys' journey in this Peter Pan show. Thank you. Stay with us, because in our next segment, we'll be hearing more from the father and Peter Pan, which will be a great segment as well. We're glad that you're here, and we're glad you've made the connection today. Welcome back to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. And we have been talking, and will be talking, about the Prime Productions show For Peter Pan on her 70th. We have the founder joining us again at the top of the segment. We had both the founders. In this segment, we have Allison Edwards, and she plays the role of Peter Pan. And so we're going to do a little deeper dive into Peter Pan. We also have, as part of our segment today, the man who plays the father. You're kind of a central role throughout the show. And Eric, you're just pulling up my grid here. Give me your last name again.
Steen.
That's right, Eric Steen. Nice to have you both. We're going to start with a little overview of the show in 3 movements. Starts off with the father being in the hospital.
On his deathbed.
The next segment, you're in the kitchen in a wake.
With a lot of Jameson.
And then the third segment, we go into the fanciful world. And I'd love to have you both talk about the through line for both of you, because you're sort of the central characters in terms of the action of the show moving forward. So let's start with you, Allison. You play the role of Peter Pan. Tell me about that.
Well, it's actually the oldest sister. She's Anne, but her claim to fame was playing Peter Pan many times, very successfully apparently, as a teenager. And so here she is now on her 70th birthday. And at the very beginning of the play, she's the connection sort of with the audience, and she's reliving the glory days of Peter Pan and flying and how successful or unsuccessful that perhaps was in the community theater production. And then she steps into the hospital room and has to deal with her father, who she has it's not fraught, I would not say fraught, but it's a sort of a distant relationship. She's aware that he cares for her, but he's not particularly demonstrative. It is said of him that he never praised his children because he didn't want them to get swelled heads.
Sounds Scandinavian to me. Yes, indeed.
Well, as a full-blooded Norwegian, I have to take exception with that. I was raised in a household with two Norwegian parents, and I from hearing discussions about other people's families and experiences they've had, my family was always pretty cohesive and loving and weren't afraid to say so. And so, yeah, it sounds like some Scandinavians.
Yes, I'm married to a Norwegian, and I have a fondness for Norwegians. And yes, I do think there is a different kind of connectedness, but there's also an encouragement to be humble, encouragement not to overstate, but that what really matters is family. Mm-hmm. And I think that shines through. So tell me about your journey from dying and the part you play.
Yeah,
tell me about
the father's arc. You wouldn't think the father character would have an arc after he dies.
Yeah.
But we revisit the father a little bit in some surprising ways in the second and third movements, and I think in the second movement especially, he kind of overhears some stories about how he behaved as a father,
and how he was perceived to be behaving. Things that he might or might not have been aware that the children were taking that way.
Wow. Are they aha moments for you?
Well, I have a daughter who's 50. Yeah. And the aha moment was later in the play, but am I telling my daughter enough how proud I am of her? Am I calling enough? Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. That has struck home for me.
And you have had things come up for you as you're doing this show in your own relationship with your father.
Yes, indeed. My dad passed away a little over a year ago at the ripe old age of almost 104.
Wow.
He missed it by 1 month, I think, maybe 2.
We'll give it to him. We'll say he's 104.
But what's been very interesting for me to grapple with is it was not that I never thought my father didn't love me, but I definitely thought my father, he didn't want me to be an actor. He loved theater. He loved the fact that I was an actor, but he wished I'd married a doctor and,
had a traditional
and maybe,
life
and acted in a community theater instead of doing it professionally. So we were not a sort of touchy-feely, huggy family. So I never, again, not that I didn't think he was proud of me, but I never had that moment, which Anne, having played Peter Pan, as Peter Pan comes to an end at the end of the play, gets to have this moment with her father where he tells her how proud he was of her. And that is
It fills the spot.
is very personal for me, and a really wonderful moment to have sort of lurking there in the background as we're going through all the other fun and challenging things that are part of the three movements of this play. To know I get that moment, it's there. It's like the shining star at the end of the play for me as an actor.
Theater can be such a gift to our journey. That we may in our journey have stumbled along the way, or something didn't connect the way that we wanted to. The gift of having that moment every night.
Absolutely.
Yes. And to have that affirmation and know that you need it, to be able to name that I need that connection. And I didn't have that, but I have it now. And to be able to accept it as something coming over you that's real, even though you're playing a different role, even though you are a different character. I think that's one of the gifts that not everyone understands about theater, the journey that we get to take when we're in a role, and where it goes, and allowing us to explore what it can be for us.
Right, and as an actor, of course, you rely on your own experiences and your own emotions, but to be in a situation where something that is very real to me as an actor, as a person, but to get to experience something that I always wished I'd had and didn't even know how to articulate, just because
didn't even know you needed to have it until you got it.
Exactly.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. I needed to be told I was loved. Okay, good.
And Eric is just so wonderful to play that scene with at the end of the play. It's for me, it's magic.
How do you feel about it?
Oh, it's magic for me too, and to look eyeball to eyeball with Allison and have that share that moment together is it makes me cry a little bit.
Well, when I think of Peter Pan, and I asked this in the last segment as well, we think of not growing up, but there's something more to it in not growing up. It's cherishing as well, right? So in that Peter Pan-esque way, was there something that touched you, Eric, in playing this role that's a bit of Peter Pan? How did Peter Pan throw his sprinkle dust?
Well, I'll tell you, dying in that first movement, and lying there and having heard a parent in hospice, the agonal breathing, and it's difficult to know that time is getting nearer, and so I better make the most of what I got left.
Yeah. And be in touch with the things that are most important, that we know when we're children are important. We lose them along the way, I think, with a to-do list. But, when we can get back to that heart of what a child can bring to us and how a child looks at the world. And you very much in the last segment are that child, would you say? Anne?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's interesting. I was having a conversation with some friends maybe a month or so ago. And I think for me, it was in preparation for this role, since I was already working on the play. But I asked them about feeling grown up, and they went, well, yeah. I said, I don't feel like a grown up. And some of it, I'm sure, is life choices I've made. I don't have children. I have cats. I've been an actor. I've never had on occasion for short periods of time, I've had what people would consider a, quote, real job. But I've been paid to play. And so I do feel like a child. But one of the things that's so interesting about the dichotomy in this play is that it's this group of siblings from late 50s to early 70s looking at, well, yeah, but you may not feel like a grown-up, but either way, you're going to die.
Nobody gets out of here alive.
No. And how are you going to embrace that? As Eric said, I bet we better make the most of it. And that's part of what I think Peter Pan and the way Sarah has written this last movement, that it is late 50s to early 70s actors doing Peter Pan. So there are, aching joints and sore feet and bad backs and all of those things that come along with that age. But they're still absolutely in the mix, absolutely being Peter Pan, being Captain Hook, being the boys. It's really quite wonderful the way she's put that ride together about youth and growing up, and what is being a grown-up. That's another big conversation in the play.
Well, I encourage our audience to write this down. It's For Peter Pan on her 70th birthday. It's a play by Sarah Rule. It is put on by Prime Productions. It's going to be at the Mixed Blood Theater. It previews on October 9th and 10th. It opens on October 11th and runs through October 26th. That play, those dates will play on the Thursdays through Saturday evenings at 7:30. And also on Saturday and Sunday, there'll be matinees at 2 p.m. You can get your tickets by going to primeprods.org. That's PRIMEPRODS.org. And guess what? There's captioning at every performance. No other theater does that. You all do a beautiful job. Thank you for sharing your stories, not only about your character, but about the play and about yourselves and your journey. So thank you for being here. And stay with us. We have one more great segment ahead, and we're going to bring back our founders and co-producers of Prime Productions to tell a little bit more about next steps in Prime Productions. So stay with us. It's going to be great. Thank you. Radio show where we talk about ideas that matter, and we have been just having a blast with Prime Productions in getting ready for their For Peter Pan on her 70th. And in this segment, we have the founders. We have both Allison Edwards and Shelley Place, who had this vision, and look at you now. It's just great. It's wonderful to see the fruition of all your hard work and your dreams and having it grow and continue. Show that's coming up that we've been talking about, I've got a little overview of, and I wanted to just share it with the audience. 5 siblings gathering at a turning point in their lives, navigating loss, memory, and the passage of time together. Childhood memories of Peter Pan resurface, mingling with laughter, quarrels, and tender moments as they face what it means to grow older without losing wonder. Heartfelt, humorous, and full of imagination, this play is a moving celebration of family, the stories we share, the fears we face, and the magic that helps us hold on. What a beautiful overview.
I love that.
It is.
I just love it. And all of that is in the play. I will tell you that there is one character we haven't discussed.
Oh, yes. You're right.
Yes. And as you know, because Eric was just in here, he is the father, and he becomes kind of a ghost, right? Well, there's a part in the play where they have just discussed the dog that they had to put down after all these years, and how looked at his eyes, and he was great, and then all of a sudden, this ghost dog comes on. It's a real dog.
I love it.
And his name is he's Nana in the show, but his real name is Ozzy.
Aww.
And his owner is Shannon Burke, and she comes from a theater family too. Her mother's a playwright, so she's going to join us during
a theatrical dog from a good theatrical family.
And we met Ozzy last week, and he is adorable.
Oh, I hear he's an Australian Shepherd.
No, he's a Border Collie.
Border Collie. Well, in that Shepherd family.
Right.
But great.
He just melted my heart.
And he's 15 years old.
What a trooper.
So, the lights don't bother him. The audience doesn't bother him. He's got a little arthritis, kind of like everybody else in the show.
I know there's a couple other thank yous as well. Peter Moore.
Yes, Peter Moore, legendary actor here in town. He's also one of the premier fight coordinators for not only plays, but for SAG-AFTRA films as well.
And Miriam?
Miriam Monash, the director. She's been amazing. I started working with her before we went into rehearsal, but she's just been great in terms of her vision. We're moving into the theater and get all the bells and whistles of lights and sound next week, and I can't wait to see how her vision really comes to life.
Miriam is a 2-time Ivy winner.
Wow.
And she's.
And if you don't know what Ivy is, that's here in the Twin Cities. We do special awards for the best theater people.
Yeah. I miss those, actually.
I do too. You got an award. You want to shout about the award?
We did. The Twin Cities Business Magazine has awarded us the Community Impact Award in Equity Initiative. And
you got it.
That was a tough one. Equity Initiative, and it is for our amplifying of women over 50 and their values in the community. And that sort of takes us into where we want to go with this, and we are hoping to add business. It's called show business. Everybody talks about the show.
But you talk about the business.
I do. That's my job, especially when I'm producing. But we want to take what we do and spread it out and actually help women do other things. I mean, we want to focus on them when they're on the stage, but we want to help them in other ways.
So be motivated by the story, but take action with you.
And also one of the things that we've realized is that arts are generally the first glimmer of change.
Yes.
It's
our hope. It's our dream.
The civil rights movement.
Yes.
To Kill a Mockingbird is a perfect example of how that book and that film really began to make other ideas possible.
The strong ideas allowed for a cultural shift because people started to get that aha connection.
Yeah, and if they see it, they can believe it. They can accept it. They can accept a female president one of these days.
It will happen. It absolutely will happen. Well, we have about a minute left, but I want to make sure that you both have something that I know is important that you want to be able to share, and then I'm going to give an overview of how people can get their tickets and where to go and all that good stuff. I'm going to start with you, Allison, for a closing comment.
Well, for my closing comment, I would say I am so proud of the fact that we are still here, that Prime Productions is entering its 8th season, which is its most challenging season to date, and it's going to be an exciting one.
And you're taking it on.
We are.
Shelley, tell me.
I'm just very proud that when I started this interview today, I talked about 5 women over 50 on the stage. And I am so proud of how many mature women, both on the stage and behind the scenes, designers and crew people and production people, we have employed well over 60 people.
So a minimum of 50 over 50.
minimum. And we haven't even finished the season yet.
I love it.
So now the other thing that we're doing is we're also broadening the stories to different cultures.
That's fabulous.
So,
and with that, go see the show for Peter Pan on her 70th birthday by Sarah Rule. It's at the Mixed Blood. It previews October 9th and 10th. It opens October 11th, closes October 6th, but you can go Thursday through Saturday evenings at 7:30 p.m. And you can go on Saturdays for the matinees at 2 p.m. To get tickets, primeprods.org, primeprods.org. And there is captioning for every performance. Thank you both. Thank you for bringing your crew, your actors, your story, your hearts, your visions. We love having you here.
Thanks so much, Lori.